Hello and welcome to Insight. I'm Antoine Lee. Coffee is Ethiopia's black gold, consumed around the world and pouring in over $800 million in export. But more than a stimulant, coffee has a deep connection with the culture and people of Ethiopia. Stay with us as we travel to the highlands of Ethiopia and explore the rich history and social value of the world's favorite bean. It's one of the most widely consumed beverages in the world. Coffee is the hot drink of choice for many. The passion for coffee goes back centuries ago and is now grown around the world. In fact, there are several countries claiming to be the birthplace of coffee. But as we look at historical literature and trade routes, the origin of coffee leads us to East Africa.
Coffee, as we know it, particularly the Arabica, is a product of Kaffa. Even the name coffee comes from the name of Kaffa. You know it? And the way we can prove it, in Brazil, they cultivate and grow it, isn't it? But in Ethiopia, it's a natural forest. You get it in the jungle. You go down to Kaffa, you just look up, pick the coffee and go.
Over 1,000 years ago, the coffee plant originated in Ethiopia. Today, Ethiopia is the fifth largest producer of coffee in the world. With revenue over $800 million in export, coffee is a central part of the livelihood and economy of Ethiopia.
In history, from beginning of the 9th century, coffee is exporting to outside the world from Kaba. Here in Deshawarda, the place called Mankra, coffee first traditionally started from this, and the spread in the world, even in the coffee Arabica, is the original place is here in Deshawarda, and from this coffee is spread in the different worlds.
From Ethiopia, coffee spread to Yemen and then to Egypt and North Africa. By the 16th century, it had reached the rest of the Middle East. By the 17th century, the popularity of coffee drinking in the Muslim world spread to Italy, then to the rest of Europe. And by the 18th century, coffee made its way to the East Indies and to the Americas. I was invited to a traditional coffee ceremony by the village elders here in Kaffa. Now what makes this interesting is that they use coffee in bamboo cups, which goes way back to the 9th century. But the only problem is, how do I get there? Excuse me, can you give me a ride to the village down below? It's really a short distance. Well, I guess I'll find another way.
Shidhaton shuniyoch dusha kasha amom diggisonna gidde itimuna.
Socially, we use coffee for everything. For example, today is Sunday, for conflict management, for conflict resolution. We are discussing before eating everything. We solve it with drinking coffee with conflict solution. And for inviting guests and for everything, we are using coffee. Coffee is a part of our life.
So we just had the interesting ceremony in Kaffa, but I must say that my experience was very different and unique. We had kocho, which is from the false banana plant, and aibe, which is like the cottage cheese. And I will say it's the best cottage cheese or the best aibe I've had in Addis or Ethiopia. And this I will say is very interesting. This is from the false banana plant. In Ethiopia, the word tissue or napkin is known for as soft. But this is what they use for soft and kaffa. It's traditional. It's what they used in the old times and what they use today. It's kind of similar to the international brand of baby wipes or hand wipes. Very fresh. It's something I think I will take back to Addis Ababa with me. Before leaving Kaffa, I traveled to Mekera, the last cloud forest of Ethiopia. It is here where coffee has grown wild for over 1,000 years. I'm in the highlands of Kaffa. I was invited to meet with a farmer who lives in this area. As you can see by the mud on my shoes and pants, it's very wet. We just made it after the morning rain. And obviously I did not wear the right shoes for this, but I've come this far and I must continue my journey. Falling a few times and bitten by ants. Needless to say, it has not been a very luxurious journey, but a journey that I think is important to see and to experience just how a farmer may live in the highland lands of this area. It is a coffee forest in Kaffa, and with the wetness and the climate makes it a perfect way for coffee to be grown here. Whew. I finally made it to the village where the farmer lives. I've traveled through the forest. It rained earlier today. I even stepped in a puddle of water, slipped a few times, bitten by ants, but I finally made it. Takna hachat ne. Digo or give it. Digo. Ashabar Alamayo and his family shared with me what coffee means to them.
It's very difficult for me to compare it. It's when in the word I say it is my life, there is no substitute word for that. We are much dependent on the coffee.
Even during harvest season, it is a family effort. For Ashabar and his family, coffee is essential to their livelihood. Rich in coffee history and traditions, Jimma is one of Ethiopia's major coffee producers. Once arriving in Jimma, I was welcomed by a local farmer and his family for a traditional coffee ceremony.
Ini agak lebih dingin sama agak-agak gede. Aadaadhaani wanti jiru ollaa wal waamee kottaa buna dhugaa jedhee.
Coffee ceremony we make 3 times: morning, afternoon, and the evening. At the ceremony, we talk about social issues, the problem of the village. If there are disputes, we settle it, and if there are common problems, we also try to solve it during the coffee ceremony.
Like many coffee farmers in Ethiopia, for Abafira Abasambi and his family, coffee is everything.
Coffee means everything to us. It is what we eat. We buy grain by selling coffee. We also send our kids to school from sales of coffee. Our clothes is also bought from sales of coffee.
In Ethiopia, there are various coffee unions and cooperatives representing farmers in their respective coffee regions and zones. For Abafira and his family, joining the Oromia Coffee Farmers Cooperative Union made a difference in their lives.
The benefits we are getting is a lot. To tell you some of the benefits, before we joined the cooperative, we used to sell our coffee and come home to traders. But now, through selling to cooperatives, we are getting second payment or dividend. From this dividend, we are using to manage our field and also to buy what we need.
Owned by organized coffee farmers cooperatives in the region of Oromia, Oromia Coffee Farmers Cooperative Union was established in 1999 with 34 coffee cooperative societies, representing over 22,000 members. Today, the number of cooperatives has grown to over 190, representing more than 200,000 farmers, with the main objective of improving the lives of the farmers and their families.
The need for establishing came from the problem of the farmers. In 1999, farmers faced a serious problem of drop in coffee prices in the world market. And many of the farmers who were organized in cooperatives were not paid by coffee exporters. And most of the cooperatives lost a lot of dollars unpaid or birr unpaid by the exporters. This is what brought Oromia in place, just to bypass the private traders and process the coffee directly and export to the foreign market. As you have seen, farmers have got the possibility of selling their coffee without going to the middlemen. So they are paid a fair deal, a fair price for the coffee which they are delivering to their cooperatives. In addition to that, each individual farmer receives a dividend, which is 70% of the profit which the primary society is getting back to the farmer who delivers the coffee, basing on the amount of coffee he delivers. Again, after processing the coffee at the primary cooperative level, they bring to the union, and the union exports the coffee abroad and brings back 70% of the profits back to the cooperative, and the cooperative pays back 70% to the coffee farmer. So this has enabled the farmer to send their kids to school and to get enough diet for their families, and also to build good houses for their living.
Tite samasa mageni mageno keni.
Apa mana timau? Foto mana kala?
Warano Nagis, Matanu Nagis, Warano Devis, Umanu Devis, Umanu Devis, Mangistike na salami god, Mangistike na te yuru tikabulu nu god, kawolu nu god. Naga, Madanaga, Oranaga, Danaga, Sanaga, Sayanaga. Naranage, Madanage, Anage, Anage, Piano, Oromia, you don't type Manjuga, only Pujarunde.
The Oromos are making bunakala from the dry buni coffees, and they started this maybe more than 1,000 years ago. And the Oromos wanted to expand this in all regions of Oromia, but this culture is now left to the Guji and the Borans. And in the northern part of Oromia, meaning the central shore and the other places, they only do this when they do have marriages or some cultural ceremonies. Otherwise, in Borana and the Guji, Bunakala is always experienced by the communities.
Very buttery, crunchy, very different, very different.
Before ending my journey, I had a chance to visit a local school that was built and supported by Oromia Coffee Farmers Cooperative Union.
Acceleration is equal to final minus initial. Let us multiply.
Ethiopia produces 400,000 tons of coffee beans a year. Half of that is consumed for domestic consumption, the highest in Africa.
There was uneven power between the suppliers and the exporters, the buyers. The payment system was very, let's say, ineffective. Then there was a lot of contract failure, a lot of blank checks that were written to suppliers, and then those suppliers couldn't pay the farmers. So there were numerous instances in the rural areas where people actually committed suicide because they didn't get paid because of these blank checks that the buyers were sort of allowed to do. So when the exchange came about, you know, we said we're all about integrity of the product. We're going to grade it and ensure that the quality is what it's supposed to be. We have a warehouse receipt system, so it's not being sold off truck like in the auction system. It's delivered into a warehouse, and so the exchange takes the responsibility of delivering it to the buyer. We set up a transparent trading system where the prices by grade are, you know, transparently sort of announced to everybody in the market, including the smallest farmer in the country. And then the fourth thing that we do is the clearinghouse, a very important function. So by taking payment from the buyers, transmitting it to sellers the next day after trade by 11 a.m., basically we got rid of this whole payment default that used to be really a big issue in the coffee trade. We have a push and a pull technology. The push is in both real time and in discrete time. So in real time means that in less than 2 seconds we're transmitting whatever happens on the trading floor, the prices that are discovered through the process of you know, bidding and offering for the commodities. We transmit the prices as soon as, you know, a handshake happens and the orders are filled out. Then those prices are put up on the screens, of course, here on our trading floor for everybody to see, but also simultaneously to 32 mural displays, which are outdoor electronic boards that can be seen by anybody in the market. So now you find that people are standing outside the boards, in fact, you know, sometimes holding 2 mobile phones, you know, relaying those prices that they're reading off the board. So that's one, but of course not everybody's near a board. In addition to those boards, we also transmit in real time to our website. We currently get more than 2,000 hits a day from about 107 countries around the world. So transparency is not just also within our own domestic borders, but also globally. The biggest creditor the biggest lenders in Africa are not Standard Chartered or Barclays or Citibank. It's the small farmers. They typically sell on credit, and the local trader will say, well, I don't have any cash now, come back next week when I sell the coffee or whatever they bought. And then, in the meantime, they'll flip it a few times, have the farmer keep coming back 2-3 times, months sometimes on end. And then when they get paid, the trader might say, well, prices went down. The price I told you we'd agreed, that doesn't hold anymore because, guess what? Prices went down. What is the farmer going to say or do? So they're always at the mercy of this situation, and it's a very risky environment. So when you live under that kind of risk, typically your behavior is very risk averse. You don't plan on making big investments. You're not going to go buy a new farm equipment. You're not going to, invest in sort of an extensive land preparation that you have to pay people to help you to do, because you're not sure if you're going to get paid. So when you have a system that guarantees you payment, then the way you invest in your own productive capacity changes, because you're assured that there's a market that's giving you returns.
Our core business is roasting pure Ethiopian coffee from different regions. So when we started business almost 58 years ago, we started by showcasing different region coffees for tasting it for a lot of people, for different kind of customers. And we still keep on doing that now. We provide the best Ethiopian coffee, roasted, ground, packed. That makes it basically unique.
People come together for coffee. You get together, it's a group of women, sit down, chatter about anything under the sun, and it's just our way of kind of healing ourselves and letting whatever is in our mind out while having coffee. It's a culture. Definitely is. Completely different in the US, where you take coffee, then you wake up in the morning, I can't breathe if I don't get coffee. In Ethiopia, you enjoy it. I actually see a certain trend within the young people that I remember I used to laugh at my mom whenever she'd have her friends over and have coffee and say, oh my God, these women are chattering all over again. But now I see it because me and my friends invite me to their house for coffee. And it's such a nice thing to know that generation after my father or my mother, go to my friend's house to have the same thing. Perhaps not as dolled up as it usually is with, the grass and the incense and all these things, but there's still that culture of coffee that's taken up by the younger generation.
There is, for the higher qualities, absolutely a brand for consumers. We need to develop the consumer base to like that sophistication of coffee. And we should absolutely get the best value we can for those coffees by selling it as an Ethiopian-specific coffee. And that's what we're doing today. But there's also opportunity to use it in blends, to use the different grades, to really go in and try to stratify the different qualities coming out of Ethiopia so we can buy more and more. In my work with Fair Trade, that's what I like to do. I like to have a community where we can buy 10, 20 containers, because that's when you can really see change happening on a farmer level.
Coffee is the backbone of the Ethiopian economy, generating nearly half of the foreign currency earnings that this country obtains from agricultural commodity export. From the $2 billion exports earnings of Ethiopia in 2010-2011, 842 million USD are from coffee.
birthplace of coffee in Ethiopia. It rejuvenates us. It allows us to trace the origins. It reminds us of the traceabilities and reminds us of the importance that coffee has not only to Ethiopia but Africa.
It's good to be in the birthplace of coffee. Since as we top our machinery, we have been dealing with Ethiopia market more than 20 years. So this is not a new thing actually, but this organization and this show is bringing you for more opportunity to meet with the professionals, especially for the coffee and coffee lovers around the world, especially for the Africa.
Many Korean people, they like African coffee, especially Ethiopian coffee, very famous in Korea.
This concludes our program. I'm Antoine Linley, and from all of us from Insight, thanks for watching.